So it's time now in our program for us to do something we call a community moment. And a community moment is an opportunity for someone from our community to come up and give us a thought for the day. It may be about something that they've read. It may be their journey from free thought, or it just may be something they want to share. It's an opportunity for us to get to know each other a little bit better and to learn from each other. So today's community moment presenter is the former president of Houston Oasis. And he's been a very strong leader for our community and our organization. And let's welcome up Gary to the stage. Where are you? Gary Williams.
My name's Gary Williams. I was one of the original members of Houston Oasis, and I'm sorry to say I've been out for 6 months. I've had a mental illness, and it's under control now, and I'm back. And I'm not going to really talk about that today. I may talk about it some other day, but I just wanted to let the people who kind of saw me 6 months ago and I suddenly disappeared. It had nothing to do with Oasis or anything there. It was, I was just not up to snuff. So I'm going to talk to you about kindness. And this is going to sound a little bit like a homily you might hear in church, maybe, but I'm going to try and spin it in a way that makes it unique to Oasis. One of the things about kindness is, you look at the root word, it's kind. And kind has two meanings. One, the standard root word, kindness, being nice to others, sort of thing. The other one is kind as in a type of thing, a category. And they actually do come from the same word. And what kindness really is a type of empathy. It means looking at other people or animals and saying, I'm like them. They are the same as me. It's very important to think of it that way, because kindness is not, noblesse oblige, where I give the guy on the corner $5 because I'm so much better off than he is that I can afford it. It's about giving part of yourself and seeing the other person as a real person. Kindness requires a certain amount of openness and willingness to be hurt. When you're kind, you can get hurt, because people don't always respond to kindness well. There are many different reasons for this. I'm not going to go into all of that, but you've got to understand that sometimes good deeds do get punished. But that doesn't make them not worth doing. The fact is that kindness is part and parcel of why we are here. Kindness requires taking risks, as I said. And one of the risks we took was building Oasis. Now, you can argue that Oasis was built for a lot of reasons, and I'm not going to argue that kindness was the only reason. But it was one of them. It was us looking at each other and saying, hey, we're alike. We can help each other. And a large part of what Oasis is built around was the idea of people helping people. And so what I'm going to do now is kind of go through the core values and point out where kindness kind of fits into them. In some cases it's key, in other cases you have to think a little bit. Be accepting and be accepted. It means exactly what it sounds like, and it means treating others as if they're your kind. They're your tribe. That if you accept our tribe, we'll accept you into it. If you accept yourself as part of our tribe, we'll accept you. It's a key to this whole thing, and makes Oasis work. I'm not going to go much more on that one. People are more important than beliefs. This is, I think, the fundamental thing that triggered Oasis in the first place. That when we were discussing this, we were frustrated with the idea that people kept getting hurt because of what other people believed. And so we came up with people are more important than beliefs. Now it's kind of funny because that's a belief. There's really there's no way to scientifically prove that people are more important than beliefs. There's no absolute standard that says it's better. But I believe it's better. And if you believe that people are more important than beliefs, then you believe that people are your kind. And you will be kind to people. It's built in again. We are and should be a kind group of people because we believe that people are important. Meaning comes from making a difference. Making a difference means you have to take a risk. It means you have to go out there and actually do something and try and help people. If you do what you do every day, I'm not gonna say that's bad, but if you really want to give your life meaning, helping other people is one of the deepest and easiest ways to do that. But it's also risky, because when you reach out to help other people, you can get your hand slapped. It happens. We try and make it so it's easy for you to reach out to other people. We have a lot of volunteer opportunities here. They're in your bulletin. And there's new ones coming up all the time. And if by chance you have an idea for one, bring it to the board, and they'll be happy to talk to you about it. Human hands solving human problems. Well, this core belief was basically originally about not worrying about a supernatural solution to problems. I mean, that, oh, if I wait long enough, somebody's going to come and fix it for me. No, we know that we have to fix it. We're the people who have to do it. So when you see other people who have problems, we can't just say, I'll be thinking about you. Oh, I hope everything's okay. If you're going to say something, do something. If there's something you can do it. Maybe it is just saying hello. Maybe it's recognizing the person's there. Maybe it's just saying on Facebook, I miss you. Where are you? Those sorts of things matter. But more than that, it means looking at the person and saying, what would I want in their place? What might I feel like I would need if I were them? And you don't have to get overwhelming about it, but if everybody does little bits of kindness to everybody else, you'll find that I think things will improve dramatically. It's not necessarily easy. It's easy to do with friends. It's not as easy to do with strangers. All right. Last one. Reality is known through reason. This one's a little tricky because if you take a straight, logical, Spockian approach to life, you have something called game theory, which says you should maximize your gain and minimize the other person's gain. Giving away things, helping other people doesn't make any sense, because if I give you my stuff, I don't have it anymore. There's a certain style of government that lends itself to this kind of thing. I'm not going to go any further on that, but that is not in accordance with people are more important than beliefs. Life is not a zero-sum game. If it was, we wouldn't have a society now, and we wouldn't have Oasis. We built Oasis out of nothing. I mean, it was a couple ideas, some energetic people, and an experiment. Oasis has been an experiment from the start. It's still an experiment to some degree. Fairly successful one, I believe, at this point. I was going to be happy if we had 30 people a week. We've topped that in the first 2 weeks. So I underestimated how many people this would touch. But getting back to reason, you can't use strict Aristotelian logic on emotions and people, because people are complicated, they're messy, they don't think logically. Everybody is stupid some of the time. So when you say, how could that person be that stupid? How could they get themselves in this mess? The answer is, they're human. They did something dumb. Maybe they did something dumb several times in a row. And I want to caveat this a little bit. I'm not talking about enabling somebody in an addictive behavior or helping someone hurt themselves. That's an entirely different animal. I'm talking about giving someone a hand who's gotten themselves in a bind. Maybe they're between apartments and they need a place to stay for a week. That's quite a bit different than somebody saying, I need you to support me. Okay? Those are two different things. But the key idea here is that by being kind, you add value to the world. You make things happen. It's a creative impulse. It makes the world bigger. It makes you bigger. You gain from it in a way that that is difficult to describe and I'm a mathematician. I like zero sums. I like things to add up, the two columns to come together, the accounting to add up. But it didn't work that way. I've been in therapy, and one of the things I've learned from that is that helping other people is absolutely the best way to help yourself. And that's contradictory to what game theory would say. By helping others, you should be putting yourself at risk, and only do it if you know they're going to help you in return. That doesn't necessarily happen. Sometimes people get mad at you. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes you have to do hard things. Sometimes kindness is a hard thing. But if you find yourself in a situation where you went, oh my God, why did I do that? Why did I help that person? Look how it happened. It didn't work out right. Give yourself some praise. You tried. Okay? And trying makes a difference to you at least. And it may make a difference to them down the road. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how your little act of kindness, even though the person who received it may be bitter and angry, it may be later on, years later on, they'll come around and think about that particular event, and then they'll change. You may never know anything about it. But I can say, if you react with kindness, you're very rarely ever going to be sorry in the long term. So, in conclusion, without kindness, without people giving, there would be no Oasis. Without people going beyond themselves and doing more than they thought they could gain, there would be no place like this and nowhere for people like us to be. And so I urge you to be as kind as possible every day. Thank you.